Okay, Sarah, thank you so much for coming into our show today.
Thank you for having me.
Could you introduce yourself first? Like how long have you been teching, and why did you become vet tech? Yeah.
All right, so my name is Sarah Stoneman. I am a veterinary nurse in New Jersey, in the United States, which is awesome. I went to school for vet tech in 2013 in a school called Harcum. And I completed their program, did an internship with the University of Pennsylvania, and then started working shortly thereafter. So I've been a nurse since about like 2015 or so. So that's like 4 years now, right? Yeah. So I haven't been in the field very long compared to a lot of my coworkers who some have been in the field for like 25 plus years, which is amazing for sure. But that's kind of my short little history there with the veterinary community.
And then why did you want to become a vet tech?
So I grew up as like a quote unquote barn rat, which is like a kid that always goes to the barn and hangs out with the horses and like does all the cleaning and all that kind of stuff. And I absolutely loved it. I spent my summers at the barn. I spent my winters at the barn, everything. And I knew going into high school that like, you know, I needed to prepare for my adult life and how I wanted to provide for myself and my future family. And I knew in my heart that I really wanted animals to be a part of that one way or another. And then through doing research, I discovered the job of a veterinary nurse or a vet tech. And it just kind of, it clicked for me. It was like, this is what I want to do with my life. This is what I want to pursue. I definitely kind of had like an aha moment where I was like, yes, this is what I need to do with my life. And from there, I only applied to one school because it was only that one school that I wanted to go in. And luckily I got accepted right away, which was amazing. And it's been an awesome ride from beginning of just hanging out with the horses to obviously creating a career for myself.
So let's talk about the area that you are interested in, I guess, or have a lot of knowledge of. The way I discover you, I found you is through the website called DVM 360, and a lot of people write articles, and a lot of people who I have interviewed are on it, and you are featured as one of the vet techs that people should follow. Can you talk about that? Like how did that happen? Like how they found you, and you know, you're relatively a newer tech, and to me it's like like so interesting. Like you know about compassion fatigue and the burnout kind of already.
So
talk about that.
Of course. So I like you said, was featured on an article by DVM 360. The writer was Tasha McNerney, who I believe you've interviewed before.
Right.
She's the original anesthesia nerd. She works at the practice that I do. She approached me a few weeks prior, asking if it was okay if she would highlight me on this article that she was writing for the website. Kind of talking about, like, again, techs you should watch out for. So obviously I was really flattered and kind of taken aback by it because she's such an amazing woman, and to be thought of for it was amazing.
Right.
And she was specifically interested in kind of the work and my interest in compassion fatigue, burnout, secondary and vicarious stress and trauma. So that's kind of where it took off there. So we wrote a little bit about my plans with the hospital that I'm at now, and how I guess kind of my goals a little bit in that short snippet that you can write with my goals with the veterinary community, and hopes to raise awareness and help veterinary professionals in general feel better mentally.
Did you have any like specific incident where you became interested in compassion fatigue and burnout?
Sure. So I have always been like a mental health advocate. It runs in my family. I've dealt with it personally. And coming out of that hard time for me was amazing, but it also gave me time to reflect on how I felt during that period of time. And a lot of what I felt was similar to what people who experience burnout and compassion fatigue and secondary traumatic stress feel. So there was a lot of overlap of symptoms. And I just remember thinking, like, I could never want anyone to feel similarly how I felt experiencing this. I just can't imagine going to work and hating your job or how you feel because of your work, especially in a career that is so like compassion driven. Like, so many people that work in veterinary medicine care so much. It's kind of like our fatal flaw almost. So I kind of had that moment where I was like, wow, I have come out on the other end of my own mental health struggles, and I want to be able to help others. So that's kind of where it sparked. From there, I had done research. I had research as in like on the web, right? I started out kind of reading articles, hearing like different posts on Facebook about people that I knew who were experiencing it, just kind of like telling their story and their struggles, reading blog posts, just kind of immersing myself in the whole idea of it. And that's kind of where it started. Since then, I have taken a couple of courses that have gotten me certified to help those with compassion fatigue and trauma in the workplace. So I took a course through the International Association of Trauma Professionals. That kind of gives you a way to help work through with a client or a coworker all the issues that come with being a caregiving professional. That's kind of up to date where I am now. I've been really excited to get into it, and I think it's an amazing thing that we can start promoting and going for.
And that's what CCFP stands for?
So CCFP is a certified compassion fatigue professional. And then I'll also, when I sign my name now with the credentials afterwards, I also put -TP because there is also like a trauma professional. So certified clinical trauma professional. So I just kind of put the TP at the end. That way I don't have to do CCTP as well. But there are two different certifications. One is for the compassion fatigue. The other is for like clinical traumatic stress. So any type of trauma that you might experience in the workplace.
Such as?
So trauma in the workplace could be anything from experiencing like multiple euthanasias that were difficult, and it's something that's bothering you outside of work. It could be having like an anesthetic death that you're having a hard time coping with. It can even be like for our front desk professionals, so like our CSRs or our receptionists, if they had a client that was exceptionally difficult to deal with and they had a hard time then doing their job because they were worried about getting yelled at by a client for one reason or another, that can be considered a traumatic event and can affect their work. So that certification and that knowledge has been able to give me resources and tools to help those who experience those traumatic issues at work as well.
I know a couple of people who have the certificate CCFP, but I don't think that's so common in the veterinary industry yet. I believe that one of us, everyone kind of should at least have some kind of knowledge of how to deal with trauma at work, right?
I agree. Yeah, very much. I think, if you have knowledge on how to deal with your emotions and your experiences in work, then, at the end of the day, I truly believe that if you are doing better personally in work, then your patients are going to do better at work because you're able to provide a better standard of care if you feel better. If you go into work and you have a negative outlook as soon as you walk into work, then it's going to affect how you practice medicine. Whether we want to admit it or not, it is. So if we take care of ourselves mentally and physically, they both go hand in hand, then I feel as though our patients will get better care.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's not really something that they talk about in school.
Right.
I'm hoping to change that. But as of right now, it's not something that we talk about in school as far as how to emotionally deal with your job.
Right.
And I don't think that's necessarily the school's fault. I just think it hasn't been something that has come into play until, or come into light until recently. I do think, it's very important that we educate ourselves early on in our careers. So like you said, that we can live out our careers a little bit longer. I know you briefly mentioned that in Japan, and about 70% of the people who become veterinary nurses within the year, they are not in the industry.
Yeah. Right.
It's awful because it takes so much time going into it. It's like I said, people who go into veterinary medicine have a lot of compassion. So, I'm sure leaving a field is difficult for compassionate people, especially, but I feel in general, it's difficult for anyone to leave a career.
Exactly.
So I know in the United States, as far as nurses, like techs or nurses go, the average span right now is about 5 years. After 5 years, you see a big dip in veterinary technician careers. So that's when you see who's really going to be staying in the industry longer, or who's kind of tapped out and said, I'm kind of done.
Right.
So, we're not too far different, but it's definitely, it makes a huge play in our career longevity.
And then are you able to utilize your knowledge and skills of, as a trauma professional at work?
Oh, yes, most definitely. I am very lucky to have a really supportive work family. We always call ourselves a family at the hospital that I work with because we all are very close-knit and really supportive. The management team has given me a lot of permission, I guess would be the correct word, to kind of do what I can to help my coworkers and set protocols and do all these things. So I'm currently in the first phase of my kind of big plan, for lack of a better word, at the hospital. But essentially what the end goal with this is, I'm going to be hosting workshops, kind of along the line of like group therapy, but I don't like to call it therapy just yet because I'm not necessarily like a licensed clinical social worker or someone like that. So I like to refer it as a workshop. So I'm going to be holding like a 6 to 8 week workshop where I'll work in a group with individuals at my job who are experiencing burnout or compassion fatigue, secondary traumatic stress, all that stuff. And then I'm also going to be doing individual one-on-one work with those people who are part of the workshop. And then I also am kind of available for anyone outside of that workshop. So if someone had a difficult case, like I said, kind of like an anesthetic case, say maybe their patient died on the table and they're having a hard time coping with it, then they are able to reach out to me and ask for assistance, and I can provide them with tools and knowledge on how to move forward with that experience.
Wow, that sounds really, really nice.
Yeah.
And tell me about the protocol, your protocol.
I'm sorry, what?
Tell me about the protocol.
Oh, the protocols?
Yeah.
Right. So there's a couple of protocols that I'm working on right now. The one that I'm most passionate about is like a suicide prevention protocol. And this comes into play when a coworker approaches another coworker, whether it be myself or someone else that they trust in the hospital, how to deal or how to help that person when they're experiencing unsafe thoughts. It's a very slippery slope dealing with people who are experiencing suicidal ideation, and it's hard, but it's necessary. So the whole protocol is based around just supporting that person in whatever way they need, whether it's just having someone to stay with them, whether it's taking them to an emergency room, whether it's contacting a trusted individual of that person to be able to stay with them. But it's something that we take very seriously at our hospital. So I know it's not quite completed yet because we have a couple of small things, but that is definitely one of the protocols that we're hoping to put into place. That way we can keep everyone safe, and that they know that if there is something that they're experiencing, that they have a trusted system to be able to help them.
At your work.
Mm-hmm.
So like everything is going to be written and people know what to do.
Correct. Yeah.
Based on the protocols.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Is this something that you've been working on with your like manager or like someone who's helping you do that?
So right now it's kind of just me, which is good and bad. I'm coming up with these protocols on my own based on my knowledge and my research and experiences and such. And then I am getting like approval and all that kind of stuff from our management team, which is definitely helpful because they have been, like I said, 100% supportive of everything that I have shared and offered them. So right now it's just me. Later down the road, there might be others who are interested in helping me.
Right.
But it's definitely kind of, I'm doing most of the work right now, and then management is saying yes or no to the things. And so far, they've been
wow, that's so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the idea of you doing the workshop also. And that's open. It's going to be open for like other hospitals as well, right? Or it's just going to be your hospital?
So right now it's just in our hospital. I want to be able to do at least 1 or 2 sessions within the hospital just to kind of do it almost as a test run.
Yeah.
The program is geared more towards human medicine. So I've made some adjustments and added some things that I feel would benefit those in the veterinary medicine community. So I'm kind of testing it out on my people first. And then from there, I am hoping to open it up to hospitals and clinics in the area, and then maybe from there be able to create a course online that hospitals can sign up for and can be available for their staff as well.
And they can earn CEs, and you're going to be talking at a major vet conferences and workshops. And oh wow, I can totally see you do that though.
I hope so.
Vision and the path that's amazing. And you're young, right? You're still...
Yes, I'm 24 years old.
Oh wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Where do you think that your passion is coming from? Like your passion to just not to be like ordinary, just to be a vet tech is hard enough, but you want to be more than that. You want to do more. You want to serve more people and animals, of course. Where do you think that passion is coming from?
Oh goodness. I think I just want the world to be a good place. I really do. I think everyone deserves to be happy. I think everyone deserves to find their own passion. And if I can help people, whether it's helping tear down the walls that are keeping them from living out their dreams or supporting them as they accomplish amazing things, I want to be there for all those people, and I want to be able to help them. And I think, giving back and supporting people is like the best feeling in the world. Maybe it's a little bit selfish for me, that's such a great feeling, giving back. And if I can make a career out of it, then that's even better. So I guess it would kind of it's kind of a little selfish, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think that's where it all starts. Try to think of any other questions I have for you. Well, I ask you your goals and the vision. Do you want to add anything to that? Your goals and...
Sure.
Yeah.
So I definitely have, we spoke briefly about, lecturing and doing all that kind of stuff. That's definitely a huge goal of mine, is to help spread awareness. And a big way of doing that is doing talks like this between the two of us, and lecturing and social media presence, which is really big for, I know, my generation, for sure. I'm hoping definitely to decrease the rate of turnover in veterinary professionals because of mental health or mental illnesses, and therefore decreasing the rates of suicide, which is, we know, very, very alarming in the veterinary field. I also briefly touched on this, but hopefully improve patient care. I definitely 110% believe that if you as a person is emotionally and physically healthy at work, your patients are going to be so much better off if you're taking care of yourself, because you have more to give them. It's kind of like you can't pour from an empty glass. You be able to fill up your glass so that you can help your patients best.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I just really want to raise awareness and create more resources for all veterinary professionals to access no matter where they are. That's kind of my number one goal right now, for sure.